This is Danielle Sanders, and I am at Ventrendy Wines in Park Forest, and I am here today with Kenneth McGhee, and we are talking about finance and financial literacy. How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Can you start and give me a little bit about your background?
Sure.
And what you do with Jackson Park?
I am the Chief Financial Officer for the last 2 years at Jackson Park Hospital. I've been in healthcare for 28 years. I have a master's in business, a master's in finance, and a master's in healthcare administration. So in my current role as the CFO of Jackson Park Hospital, I'm responsible for all revenue and expenses objectives of the hospital. So everything that goes in and comes out. So payroll reports to me, business management, revenue analysis, materials management, accounts payable, general accounting. I'm sure I'm missing some departments, but pretty much all the non-clinical departments report to me.
And what would be some of the challenges that come with basically managing the financials of a large hospital?
Some of the challenges are being, for the most part, we're provided by the state tax, or what they call provider tax assessment, because most of our patients are Medicaid patients. So what we really struggle with is getting a better payer mix. So as an example, a Northwestern hospital may only see 2% or 3% Medicaid patients because they don't pay well. And Northwestern has the option to not take those patients. Jackson Park, on the other hand, does not have that. So majority of our patients are Medicaid, so I would say 60 to 65. So we're not reimbursed a lot for the patients that we serve, but we still give excellent care. So to answer your question, our biggest challenge is managing cash flow when the cash is not coming in, but our expenses are still the same. And actually, the expenses went up very high over the last 2 years due to the prices that we had to pay for the nurses because of the COVID. They required more hourly rates, so we had to pay more than the money that we was actually getting in.
Right, so balancing the financials of a large hospital while still being able to serve the community seems like a big challenge. Can you tell me what inspired you to even get involved in finance? What attracted you to the career?
I've always been interested in money. I've always, and this is, do not laugh. Do you remember the show Dallas?
Yes.
As ruthless as JR was, he couldn't do anything without going to talk to the bank.
That's right.
You got to get the money from somewhere, and I've always wanted to be in that mix. And the great thing about finance, it's in every career. I mean, even here, someone's doing their books. Someone's telling them if they're making a profit, and it's always intrigued me. And healthcare really intrigued me because there's a hospital everywhere in the United States. I get job offers all the time. I've gotten a job offer in Alaska. I'm not going there, but healthcare and finance just go hand in hand, and it's been a career that's been great to me and supported my family for almost 30 years.
Wow. Now, what advice would you offer to younger people, college kids who are thinking, you know what, I think I want to go into finance and I want to do this? What advice would you offer them as far as how to prepare?
I've spoken to students before in high school and that freshman year in college, and would always tell them, don't be afraid of math. Think like, oh, I'm not good in math, so I won't be good in finance. The math part is a small aspect. It's the thinking that goes behind the finance. To sit down and look at the financial statements and analyze it, to know that, you know what, once we get to a census of 85, we're good and we're going to be profitable. At a census of 70, we need to adjust. We need to send nurses home. We got to send housekeeping. So what I would tell them is maybe do an internship somewhere to see if you like it. Start off slow, but once you get your feet wet, it's something that I've never regretted doing. And there's so many aspects of finance that you can be in. You can just focus on payroll or accounts payable. You can do the general ledger accounting. So there's so many different things in finance that where you can just be a specialist in. So I'm pretty much a specialist in all of that, and all those departments report to me.
Now, one of the things we've been covering is this idea of increasing financial literacy in our communities. And with your job, you have to have a large amount of, you have to have a huge knowledge of finance. But how does what you do translate into how you handle your personal finances?
Every morning when I wake up, first thing I do is check my own personal bank accounts, saving accounts, see if there's any strange activity. you monitor your FICO scores. You want to make sure that you're being financially stable. And I always tell my daughter, I only have one child, pay yourself first. Make sure you're saving at least 10% of your check each pay period, and try to avoid debt as much as you can. Because that's our biggest thing. We take on so much debt and we never get out of that hole. And it's just a revolving thing. You may transfer one debt from another credit card to another, but you're still in debt. And I tell my daughter and my nephews and nieces, avoid debt as much as you can, unless it's debt that's going to in some way bring you more income. I mean, if you're buying property, that's different. But if it's just debt because you have a credit card, do you really need those new shoes?
Right. And you monitor your financial accounts every single day.
Every day. Unless I'm on vacation, I may take a day without looking, but every morning, that's one of the first things I do.
Yeah. Well, that's what my mom used to always say. You better know what you got before you start your day. So I completely understand. Well, thank you so much for talking to the Chicago Defender.
Thank you so very much for having me.